Hello again from the state capitol. Here we are at the coming near the end of the second week of the veto session. I was really hoping that I'd be able to, kind of report that we had come to an agreement with the Senate, as well as, amongst the House members on a number of the big issues. Of course, that being the tax bill and the budget bill for 2018 and 2019, as well as the school finance formula. All those are in the works still at this time, and it just seems to me that sometimes we kind of take two steps forward and then a couple steps back and kind of get back to the point where we started. But I'd like to report on a couple things. One thing the Senate has kind of moved on, or at least are thinking more, and that is a targeted amount for base state aid per pupil. That can be found in Senate Bill 251. Now, mind you, this is still in the works, so this isn't on the governor's desk, but they are looking more at a base state aid per pupil of $4,006, I believe, for the first year, and then the second year would be $4,080. That's kind of more, I think, where the House committee has kind of gotten to on a number of occasions as far as where they think things need to be. That would probably pass the, the considerations of the Supreme Court, especially as we continue to work towards, an appropriate or a school finance bill that would pass their muster. Now, another thing that's going on right now is the Senate, and the Senate seems to be struggling on the tax bill. And they, as I mentioned, they come up with a lot of different ideas. One of the things that's being floated around over there now is a utility fee, which would raise about $150 million for schools. Now, this would be done by adding a fee to your residential utility bill of $2.25. A commercial account would be $10. And then, of course, the fee for irrigators, which has been a monthly fee, would now be a $120 annual fee. Now, mind you, these are being considered, and it seems to me there's about every idea you can think of has been mentioned out there. I don't see this gaining a lot of traction at this time. This would all go into effect September 1st if it were to pass, but I don't think the House members are looking too favorably. We have raised fees, and I mean, it's been going on for the last few years, ever since the 2012 tax plan came into effect, to pay for things. And, we've raised fees on just about every little thing out there, and I think that that's not really the will of the legislature right now to do any more of that, nor sweep fees. The House and Senate Tax Conference Committee continues to meet, and I would say the House position has kind of evolved a little bit in different directions, and right now the chair of the House Tax Committee, Representative Johnson, has suggested, and I think this is probably a result of just seeing so many different ideas out there, making the situation very convoluted. He suggested rolling back to the 2012 levels before the governor's tax plan went into effect. It's really not a bad idea. You get back there, and then if you want to continue to do tax cuts after that, you can do them incrementally where they don't do so much damage, I guess you could say, all at once. So I think a lot of people are kind of, leaning towards that, and the Senate really didn't say no. Of course, they didn't embrace it either. This would actually raise about $1.4 billion over 2 years. So one of the things that's happened with all the tax bills is, in the end, they don't seem to raise enough money. This here, is getting us closer, I guess you could say. Behind the scenes, there's work on House Bill 2380. This is another tax bill. As I mentioned, there's a lot of different people and groups out there working on various things to try to come up with some solutions. This here would kind of repeal some of the tax exemptions that we have. There are literally billions of dollars worth of sales tax exemptions out there, and there was a bill introduced the other day and actually passed on the House floor that would kind of chip away at some of those. And then there would be, this would be combined with an income tax increase, and then also eliminate the business pass-through tax exemption, which a lot of people have been targeting for quite some time. There's a lot of agreement. That's the LLC tax loophole, and I think there's a lot of interest in getting rid of that, as a starter. But in the end, we need to come up with something that I believe is going to take care of funding our schools, so that we can get that in front of the Supreme Court for their review. And so this will all continue next week, and as I mentioned, end of the second week of the veto session. Hopefully we see more progress next week.